Chapter 1. The Awakening of the Elements in the Vibrant Realm of Encantadia. Where magic flowed as freely as the rivers, a new dawn broke over the kingdom of Lira. The sun cast golden rays upon the lush landscapes, awakening the flora and fauna that thrived under its nurturing light. Battles fought by the legendary sisters Elena. It was a time of peace, following the great battles fought by the legendary sisters Elena Denaya, Emihan, and Perena, who had once protected the realm from darkness. However, beneath the serene surface, the balance of power was shifting. A prophecy long forgotten whispered through the winds, hinting at the resurgence of elemental forces that could either unite or divide the kingdoms once more. In a secluded glade, surrounded by ancient trees and blooming flowers, a young girl named Lira was tending to her garden. Lira, a descendant of the noble line of Lireo, possessed an innate connection to nature. Her long, flowing hair shimmered like the petals of the flowers she nurtured, and her laughter echoed like music through the trees. One day, while gathering herbs, Lira stumbled upon a peculiar stone half buried in the soil. Intrigued, she knelt to examine it. The stone pulsated with a warm glow, and as she touched it, a vision flooded her mind, a glimpse of 4 elemental spirits awakening from their slumber, each tied to the realms of fire, water, earth, and air. Startled, Lira withdrew her hand, her heart racing. What was that? She whispered to herself. She felt an overwhelming sense of urgency and responsibility. The balance of Encantadia was at stake, and she could no longer ignore the call of destiny. Determined to uncover the meaning behind the vision, Lira rushed to the palace of Lireo, where her mother, Queen Amara, was attending to royal duties. The queen was renowned for her wisdom and connection to the spirits of the land. "Mother!" Lira exclaimed as she entered the palace halls, breathless with excitement. "I found something in the garden, a stone that glows, and I had a vision about elemental spirits awakening." Queen Amara looked up, her eyes narrowing in curiosity. "A glowing stone? This could be significant. The elements have been dormant for centuries. Show me." As they ventured back to the glade, Lira recounted her vision in detail. The queen listened intently, her expression shifting from concern to determination. If the elemental spirits are awakening, it means that the balance of Encantadia is threatened. We must act quickly. Upon reaching the glade, Lira pointed to the stone, which now radiated a brilliant light. As Queen Amara knelt to examine it, the ground trembled slightly and the air shimmered with energy. Suddenly, the stone cracked open, revealing 4 small orbs, each representing one of the elements. "Lira, this is not just a stone. It is the Kaharian NG-APOY, Tubig Lupa, at Hangin," the queen declared, recognizing the ancient relic. "We must awaken the elemental spirits before they are drawn to the darkness that seeks to exploit their power." Chapter 2. The Call of the Elements. With the orbs glowing in her hands, Queen Amara summoned the royal council of Lireo. The council gathered in the grand hall, their faces reflecting a mix of concern and curiosity. Among them were brave warriors, wise sages, and magical beings who had dedicated their lives to protecting Encantadia. "Esteemed council," Queen Amara began, holding up the orbs for all to see. "These are the hearts of the elemental spirits. They have been dormant for too long, but they are now awakening, and we must ensure they are not corrupted by darkness." Lira stepped forward, her heart pounding. "I had a vision of the spirits. They each embody the essence of their element. We must find them and awaken them to restore balance." The council murmured among themselves, weighing the implications of her words. Finally, Commander Terrell, a seasoned warrior and protector of Lireo, spoke up. "If the spirits are indeed stirring, we must prepare for the worst. I propose we send teams to each realm: Sapiro for water, Hathuria for fire, Adamia for earth, and the skies for air. Queen Amara nodded, her expression resolute. We shall divide our forces. Lira will accompany the team to Sapiro to awaken the spirit of water, while I will lead the team to Hatharia for the spirit of fire. Lyra felt a surge of excitement and fear. This was her chance to be part of something greater than herself, to protect Incantadia and fulfill her destiny. As the council made their preparations, Lira and her companions, Kiran, a skilled archer from Lireo, and Celine, a healer with a deep connection to nature, set off toward Sapiro. The journey was filled with anticipation, but also a sense of urgency. They knew that if the elemental spirits were not awakened in time, darkness could engulf their realms once more. As they reached the borders of Sapiro, the landscape transformed into a vibrant tapestry of shimmering lakes and flowing rivers. The air was cool and refreshing, filled with the sounds of nature. But as they ventured deeper, they sensed something was amiss. An unsettling stillness hung over the land. Stay alert, Kiran cautioned, scanning the surroundings. The spirit of water is close, but we must be wary of any lurking dangers. Lira nodded, feeling the weight of her mission. We have to find the spirit and awaken it. It's our only hope. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the mist, a beautiful woman with flowing hair that resembled cascading water. Her presence radiated power and grace. Who dares disturb the waters of Sapiro? She demanded, her voice echoing like a gentle wave. Great spirit of water, Lira stepped forward, heart racing. We come to awaken you and restore balance to Incantadia. The elements are at risk, and we need your strength. The spirit of water regarded them with piercing blue eyes. Many have sought my power, but few understand the responsibility that comes with it. Are you prepared to face the trials that lie ahead? Lira took a deep breath, determination filling her heart. We are ready. We must protect our realm from darkness, and we believe you hold the key to our victory. As the spirit of water studied Lira and her companions, the air thickened with anticipation. The fate of Incantadia rested upon their shoulders, and the awakening of the elemental spirits had begun. Chapter 3. The next generation years had passed since the epic battles that had defined the fate of Incantadia. The realm was now at peace, with the four sisters Elena, Denia, Amahan, and Purina having established a new era of harmony. The sisters had each borne children, and the legacy of their powers continued through the next generation. In the heart of Lireo, the eldest of the next generation, Lewana, daughter of Elena, was known for her radiant beauty and kind heart. She had inherited her mother's ability to manipulate light, bringing warmth and hope to all. Lewana often spent her days in the palace gardens, nurturing flowers that flourished under her touch. Bituin, the spirited son of Denia, was a natural protector. He had inherited his mother's strength and bravery, aspiring to become a great warrior like her. With a heart full of courage, Bituin trained daily, eager to defend Incantadia from any threats that might arise. And Sapiro, Hawani, daughter of Amahan, embraced the winds. With her playful spirit and adventurous nature, she would often explore the floating islands, riding the gusts of wind and befriending the creatures that dwelled there. Her laughter echoed through the skies, a reminder of joy in the realm. Lastly, there was Abar, the son of Purina, who possessed a fierce determination and cunning intellect. Though he struggled with the darker legacy of his mother, Abar sought to prove that he could be a force for good. He often found himself torn between the shadows of his lineage and the light he wanted to embrace. One day, a council was called in the palace of Lireo. The sisters gathered with their children to discuss a troubling omen. A dark energy had begun to seep into Incantadia once more, threatening to disrupt the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. As the sun set over the palace, casting golden hues across the room, Elena addressed the gathering. We have sensed a disturbance in the balance of our realms. We must prepare for what is to come. Lewanig stood, her eyes shining with determination. We can't let darkness return. We must protect our home just as you did. Danaya nodded, her expression serious. We must train them. They need to learn how to harness their powers. Bichuan stepped forward, a fire igniting within him. I'm ready. I want to help fight against whatever threatens us. Hawani, swirling a breeze around her fingers, added, and I can scout the skies for any signs of trouble. Perina's gaze fell on her son, Ibar, who remained silent. Ibar, you have the potential to help us. We need your cunning and strength. Ibar looked up, conflicted. I want to help, but I fear my bloodline's legacy. What if I become the very thing we fight against? Emahan placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. You are not defined by your lineage. You can choose your path just like we did. With newfound resolve, Ibar nodded. Then let's train together. We'll show everyone that we can protect Incantadia. The sisters agreed to lead their children in rigorous training, combining their powers and teaching them the importance of unity and trust. Each day brought new challenges, but the bond between the cousins grew stronger as they faced physical and magical trials together. As they trained, a dark figure watched from the shadows, plotting to unleash chaos upon Incantadia once more. The children, unaware of the impending danger, continued to hone their skills, their laughter echoing through the hills. Chapter 4. The Omen. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lawanig felt a chill in the air. Something isn't right, she said, glancing at her cousins. I can feel a darkness approaching. Just then, a messenger from Haltharia arrived, breathless and wide-eyed. The realm is in peril. Creatures of the dark have been spotted near the borders, and they seek to invade. The children exchanged worried glances. We must act quickly, Bichuan said, his warrior spirit ignited. We can't let them cross into our lands. Hawani summoned the winds. I'll fly ahead and gather information. We need to know their numbers and their plans. Let's meet at the sacred clearing, Lawanig suggested. We'll strategize together. As they prepared to leave, Elena, Danaya, Amihan, and Perena arrived, sensing the urgency in the air. What's happening? Elena asked, concern etching her features. We've received word of an impending invasion, Lawanig explained. We're going to meet at the clearing to plan our defense. The sisters nodded, their expressions a mixture of pride and worry. We will join you, Danaya declared. Together we will face this threat. As the group headed toward the sacred clearing, the dark figure observed from afar, a sinister smile crossing its lips. The battle for Incantadia was about to begin, and the next generation would rise to face the challenges ahead. Chapter 5. Shadows looming as the children gathered in the sacred clearing, a chill filled the air. Lawanig, Bichuan, Hawani, and Ibar stood in a circle, their powers flickering with anticipation. The clearing was a sacred space, imbued with the magic of their ancestors, and they felt the weight of their legacy pressing upon them. All right, Lawanig began, her voice steady. We need to devise a plan. Bichuan, you'll lead the defense at the front lines. Hawani, use your aerial advantage to scout for enemy positions. I'll focus on strengthening our barriers. Ibar, still grappling with his thoughts, finally spoke up. What if we set traps? We can use the terrain to our advantage. If we know where they'll come from, we can outsmart them. Bichuan's eyes lit up. That's a great idea, Ibar. We can create distractions and lure them into ambushes. As they strategized, the atmosphere shifted. The shadows around them seemed to grow darker, and an ominous wind swept through the clearing. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, a dark sorceress clad in black, with eyes that burned like embers. You think you can protect this realm? The sorceress sneered, her voice dripping with malice. I am Lilith, and I will unleash chaos upon Incantadia. The children braced themselves, their hearts racing. Elena, Danaya, Amihan, and Perina arrived just in time. their presence a powerful shield against the encroaching darkness. "You will not harm our children, Lilith," Elena declared, her voice ringing with authority. "We will defend Incantadia with all our strength." As the battle began, the children joined their mothers, fighting side by side as they unleashed their powers against the dark sorceress. Lewanig summoned beams of light to blind Lilith, while Bituin and Abar coordinated their attacks, using the terrain to their advantage. Hawani soared above, calling upon the winds to create a storm, disrupting Lilith's concentration. The clearing erupted in chaos as magic clashed against darkness, illuminating the night sky. In the midst of the battle, Lilith unleashed a wave of dark energy, threatening to overwhelm them. But together, the children and their mothers stood firm, channeling their powers into one united front. As the light and darkness collided, the fate of Incantadia hung in the balance. The next generation had risen to face the shadows, and their strength would determine the future of their realm. Chapter 5. Shadows Looming, Conclusion. As the battle raged on in the sacred clearing, the forces of light and darkness clashed with a fury that echoed throughout Incantadia. Lewanig, Bituin, Hawani, and Abar fought valiantly alongside their mothers, each member of the next generation drawing strength from their lineage and the bond they shared. Lilith, the dark sorceress, unleashed her magic, sending waves of shadowy energy toward the defenders. However, the united front of the sisters and their children proved to be a formidable force. With each spell cast and every arrow fired, the light flickered brighter, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. "Together," Lewanig shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Focus your energy. We can do this." Channeling their powers, the group formed a protective circle. Lewanig raised her hands, summoning radiant beams of light that intertwined with Bituin's strength and Abar's cunning. Hawani summoned a powerful gust of wind, swirling around them, creating a barrier of energy that shielded them from Lilith's onslaught. As the light intensified, Lilith faltered, her expression shifting from confidence to fury. "You think you can defeat me? I am darkness incarnate." But the children were undeterred. Drawing upon their shared heritage and the love that bound them, they pressed forward, their powers merging into a brilliant display of unity. With one final push, they unleashed a combined attack, a surge of elemental energy that surged toward Lilith. "Now," Bituin roared as their magic collided with the sorceress, engulfing her in blinding light. The force of their spell shattered the darkness that surrounded her, forcing Lilith to retreat into the shadows, her screams echoing as she vanished from sight. As the dust settled and the light faded, a profound silence enveloped the clearing. The threat had been vanquished, but the battle had taken its toll. Exhausted yet triumphant, the group embraced one another, tears of relief and joy mingling with the sweat and dirt of battle. "You did it!" Elena exclaimed, pride swelling in her heart as she looked at her daughter and the brave young warriors. "You fought with courage and strength." Danaya, Amihan, and Perina echoed her sentiments, each embracing their children, knowing that the legacy of their lineage would continue through them. The next generation had proven themselves worthy, not only as warriors but as protectors of Incantadia. As they made their way back to the palace, the sun began to rise, casting a warm golden glow over the land. The realm had been saved once more, and the bonds of family had grown stronger through the trials they had faced together. In the days that followed, the kingdom celebrated their victory. Festivals erupted in Lireo, Sapiro, and beyond, honoring the bravery of the sisters and their children. The people rejoiced, knowing that peace had returned to Incantadia. Lewanig, Bituin, Hawani, and Abar stood together, gazing at the horizon. "This is just the beginning," Lewanig said, her voice filled with determination. "We have a duty to protect our home and ensure it remains safe." Bituin nodded, clenching his fist. "We'll train harder and be ready for whatever comes next." Hawani smiled, her spirit unyielding, and together we'll face anything. We'll carry on the legacy of our mothers. Abar, finally at peace with his identity, added, "We are not defined by our past, but by the choices we make. We will choose to protect, to love, and to unite." As they stood side by side, the weight of their responsibilities intertwined with the hope for the future. The legacy of Incantadia would continue through them, and together they would shine as beacons of light against the shadows that threaten their world. And so the next chapter in the story of Incantadia began not just as heirs to a legacy of power, but as guardians of peace, bound by love and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.